Thomas make that little carrying case?
No, he didn't make the little carrying case. So, this is the Koran of Muhammad, published in 1806 by Isaiah Thomas, published in October, and this is the inspiration for this book. It says right in the front, "To the reader." And I could never really read this easily because the F's are S's, but it's a long story. But basically what this says is that everybody in America should read this. This is while we're at war with the Barbary pirates, and Thomas Jefferson has a Koran himself. He bought it in a bookstore. It turned out that it was like 1863 or 7, something like that. And he goes in this bookstore and he finds a copy of the Koran. First one published in English, the oldest copy now known to be in existence in America. It was his. He buys this. He reads it. We don't know how much he actually read, but let me see if it's the same page. I think it's like, oh shoot, I wish I could remember the page. 133, I think. His initials are on that page, and basically that page says, "God loves the person who fights and dies much more than sits around." I'm paraphrasing, obviously. So we know that he had it, we know that he read it, and George Washington asks him to go and meet with the ambassador from the Barbary coast. That's Libya. It's about 400 miles away from Benghazi. And so he meets with the ambassador, and he says to the ambassador, "Okay, what is it you guys want? Why are you killing and capturing and enslaving all of our people and taking all the stuff off of our boats?" And he writes about it. And Jefferson says he was very blunt and said, "Because the Quran says we can. And you're an infidel, and because you're an infidel, we have the right to all non-believers to kill them, take their stuff, sell their women into slavery, and use them as slaves if we decide not to kill them. The other option to us is we can tax them. And so, you know, if you were living here, maybe we'd tax you, maybe we'd enslave your children. We're not sure." And he was very, very clear. And so Thomas Jefferson said at that time, "Look, there's no way that we can work with these people. They're going to kill all of us, or they'll enslave us, and they'll take all of our stuff," and it is in the Quran. So a group of people got together during the right after his administration and said, "We have to print the Quran." The Quran, this is one of the copies that they printed. The Quran was a bestseller in its day. People read the Quran here in America. Think of that. We don't read it now.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody's reading it now. But it talks about how, you know, you're going to find things in this book that you will not believe. He says, you will find things that you will wonder, that such absurdities have infected the best part of the world, and you will vouch to the knowledge that what is contained in this book will render our laws contemptible. A warning to the reader. You're going to read things that you can't believe people believe. And if they aren't stopped, they will destroy all of our laws and all of God's laws, turn them upside down, and they will declare us contemptible.
It's already started.
That's it. This is the real inspiration for this book. And what I found interesting was, unlike what I did, and unlike our society now, they didn't go to sound bites. They didn't go to somebody who was cherry picking this verse or that verse. They said, "Here it is, unedited. Read it. Read it for yourself, and you decide. This is what we found. We think it's insane. You read it." It's amazing to me that we can't do that anymore. That we can't hold people's attention anymore. That people won't read it anymore. What this book does is this actually takes and tells you how to read the Quran. It tells you why some things are counted in the Quran and some things are not. What most people don't understand, because we have the Bible, which is a collection of many different writers in many different times. This is one writer. And Muhammad started writing the Quran, and he wrote it through his life. What that means is God continued to reveal to him his truth, and it gets more and more violent. And so as he is revealing, saying, he could say, hey, I want you to love everybody and kiss all the Jews on their head. That could be in the front, and people could point to it and say, it says right here in the Quran, kiss all the Jews on the head. We love them. What does it say in the last part? What does it say the next page? Because if he says, and by the way, you should kiss their head once you detach that head from the body, then the kissing on the head is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The later part of the Quran, if it disagrees with the first part of the Quran, it's the last thing said. So if the first thing he said is love everybody, and the last thing he says is kill everybody, only kill everybody stands in the Quran.
Because the Enlightenment is coming.
The Enlightenment is happening. That's really important.
Well, that leads me into